Good afternoon, star babies. It is I, Laura Sanger-Watkins from Elemental Mercury, and this segment is Ask an Astrologer. My friend Ashley asks, how do I read a natal chart? I have mine on an app and I have no idea what any of it means. Well, there's no reason to beat yourself up about that, honestly. I mean, it's a language, like learning any other language, like reading music. Astrology is the language of energy. It helps describe our personal energies, the energies of what's happening in the world, and it takes a little practice. So I have a couple of options for you if you're struggling with reading your own chart. The first one is go see an astrologer. Book a reading. Most great astrologers will kind of teach you a little bit about astrology as they go along. I give readings, but yeah, find an astrologer you vibe with. Everyone's going to kind of have their own take. I know that when I look up my own chart, sometimes it's better to have an astrologer as an outside opinion to come see your stuff because, you might gloss over something that they'll pick out. For me, it's my Mars square Pluto, but we're not going to talk about that today. So yes, get a reading. My second suggestion would be there are so many classes. There's so many options online that did not exist as a young Gen X astrologer coming up. I had to do a lot of nerdy reading and research on my own. I had to use an ephemeris. I had to do terrible math. I never felt that I was precise enough. However, there are so many great teachers and mentors out there. There's a lot of great classes and webinars, and you can join astrological societies. There's a lot of options to learn. So seek out classes if that's something you're curious about. I know that I offer an intro to astrology class myself once or twice a year at Twin Star Herbal Education in New Milford, Connecticut, twinstartribe.com. And the third option would be to read and read and read and read and read. And I'm not just talking about Googling recklessly. Get yourself some really good books. If this is something you're definitely interested in, this is how I taught myself. I learned, funny thing, met a guy. He was way into astrology more than I was at the time. I was in my early 20s, and he recommended I get a book called Write Your Own Horoscope, which I still have a copy of it around here somewhere. It's really old. It's also outdated. I don't think the dates go past the 90s, but that was my first astrology book. I have a couple here on hand that I can recommend to you. First of all, this book is what I recommend to my students, Astrology for Yourself by Douglas Block and Demetra George. What I love about it is it's like a workbook. You can go in here and fill it out. It explains a lot. It's a great overview and basic beginner book. Love it, love it, love it. I recommend that. And I recommend getting yourself one of these, which is the Llewellyn George A to Z Horoscope Maker and Delineator. This is a chock-a-block of information. I mean, I still refer to this book, although I have to tell you, it was written in 1910, and I think oxen accidents were a much bigger issue back then than they are today, because there's a lot of things in there talking about having issues with oxen, which really cracks me up. But anyway, very invaluable. They updated every couple years or so to make it more up to the minute, but it is an incredible resource. So, another one I really like, Secrets from a Stargazer's Notebook. Now, this is also a book kind of from the 90s. It's a little bit outdated as far as their ephemeris goes, but the information in here, actually, no, it's been updated. Don't listen to me. But the information in here is great, great, great. And I love her humor. She's British, so it's dry and funny. And it's really fun. The thing to keep in mind is that there's so much information out there on the internet now that a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. I really get nervous when I see, some of the memes are funny and I do crack up, but I really hate the idea that there's 12 kinds of people and that everyone that's a Scorpio is just like this and everyone that's a Capricorn is just like this. And that's not true. There are millions of possible combinations of personal planets as well as different aspects within the outer planets that everyone your sun sign is sort of like a general outline or a blueprint. It's not set in stone. There's a lot of Geminis that aren't very funny. And there are a lot of Cancers that are raging, cheating jerks instead of relationship-oriented, nurturers. So there's so much to delve into that. Don't just skim the surface, I guess is my answer. If you really want to understand yourself and your natal chart, there are so many great, Getting into your chart is a really interesting way to understand yourself and to help you understand other people. the main reason why I even got into astrology was I was trying to figure out relationships and stuff like that, but it turned into something so much more. So I will talk more about fun things in the future, but those are some really great basic books. Like I said, find a great astrologer that you like, respect, trust, whatever, and work with them. If you don't really like what they say, other astrologers might have other takes, because you have to understand every astrologer is telling you what they see through their own filter as well. And some people are more focused on soul path stuff. Some people are more focused on other things, but definitely get yourself a chart read professionally. If you are interested in taking classes, take classes. There's so many more opportunities than I had. And I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm constantly looking for classes and webinars to take. And I'm really lucky because I just won a year membership to an astrological society based in Australia that has tons of webinars that are available to me now. And believe me, I'm going to be spending all my time on that. And, you know, good luck and enjoy it. And eventually, once you get more comfortable with the language of astrology, you'll be able to like look at other people's charts as well. And that's the fun part, because ain't nothing more fun than spying on somebody by finding out where their Venus is and then doing that thing, and then they like you, and ooh, you can get really crazy with it. I hope you do. Bye.